welcome back to Changing Gears. My name is Jay, and by now you are probably all familiar with my 2021 Jeep Gladiator Mojave. Now, it's been nice out for a while here in Minnesota, so we've decided to open up the Jeep and take to the roads with the doors off, roof off, and get that open air Jeep experience. And now in doing that, it crossed my mind, I should make a video and warn people / advise people about some of the nuances that come with driving without doors. And so this is that. I'm going to give you 7 things that you should know before you take to the streets with no roof and no doors. So first off, if you've been driving around with no doors for a while, not a lot of this is going to be new to you. This is more for the beginner who's maybe just bought their Jeep, maybe they just bought their Jeep Gladiator and they're interested in the specific nuances of driving without doors. And so the first one starts right here. When you take off the doors, you lose your side mirrors, and that's something that you want to be aware of. They sell a boatload of aftermarket side mirrors that go right onto the door hinges or some onto the cowl bolts. So there are solutions if you are someone that really wants to ensure that you have that maximum viewing ability through the mirrors. Also check your state laws. Here in Minnesota, you don't actually need side mirrors, but that varies state to state. So some will require it. I've seen guys use Harley mirrors, I've seen guys make their own and just kind of bolt them on with the existing door bolt. I've seen a wide variety of solutions, so it's something that can be overcome if you want, but be aware that you have no side mirrors. So located back here on your tail light is where all your blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, and any other safety features that may or may not be optioned into your vehicle. And one really important thing to note is when you don't have your doors and you don't have your side mirrors, this is disabled. You're notified of that when you start the vehicle, when you don't have your doors on, that your extra help is no longer with you. So again, this goes back to that safety thing where you got to be even more aware and control of your vehicle and in control of your surroundings before you take to the streets. One of the other big things to note when driving without your doors is the bit of sensory overload that you get. You can see a lot more, you can hear a lot more. Every truck that goes by, every loud exhaust, every ding and honk you hear, and it is more apparent. So you're definitely aware of more. Sometimes you have this sensory overload where you're taking in a lot of information. You don't have obviously the sound deadening that sort of removes you from the road in a normal car. So it's definitely something that you want to be aware of. I do actually find the driving experience to be a touch more difficult. You just have to be really aware. Like I said, you're weeding out every noise that you hear, every extra thing that you're not used to seeing, and you don't have the mirror, so you just fully have to be more aware when driving, and I think that's a big thing to note. Before you take to the road without doors, you want to be aware that you know what you're getting into and that you're ultra focused on driving. I know it's fun, but you really got to be extra locked in behind the wheel. You do not want to get into an accident without your doors. A couple other random things to throw in. You can get like foot pegs, and you might want to consider them. I never really liked the look of them, and I was like, okay, I'm not riding a motorcycle, I don't need foot pegs. But you really don't have a lot of places to put your left foot. So you don't have a dead pedal down here. You know, you just have your 2 pedals. There's nowhere to put this foot. So you find yourself, you know, just moving it all around. Do I want it here? My knees hanging out. You know, I don't really like to sit straight up when I drive. I'm a little bit of a leaner. So that was a little thing for me, is I felt like I know where to put this foot, and you want to be careful with your knee and leg hanging out the window. You catch a rock chip and it really hurts. Another thing you want to note is sort of the obvious. When you leave your truck parked, you're in the wide open. Anyone can come rummaging through, and you want to make sure that you don't leave anything in your vehicle. And Jeep actually has a couple cool tricks pertaining to this. You can lock the glove box, which isn't that revolutionary, but it's something you want to remember to do. But what I really like is the locking rear seat. So you can open up your key here, and if you have one of these, you know that you get bonus storage, little netting behind there, and you get a healthy amount of storage underneath. But you can actually come over here and put stuff in there, and when you leave your Jeep, you can lock it, and then you can't open it. Another obvious thing, secure your belongings. When you take a turn, you don't want things falling out of your truck. I often ride along with a backpack. I always make sure I buckle it around the headrest so it doesn't fall off. I would advise anything like that, you can always clip and attach to the netting or to the mesh on the back of the seat. Any way you can secure your belongings is great. You obviously don't want to lose your things or impede traffic with things falling out of your car. It's dangerous, don't want to do it. One little tidbit I want to throw in here too is when you remove the limiting arm when you're pulling off your doors, that door is now completely free to swing. And you'll end up with these notorious hood dents in the cowl that are sort of a Jeep signature, and they really fought to try to limit that wide open swing by adding this limiting arm. But just remember, when you remove it, as soon as you unbolt it, that door is going to swing freely and you do not want it hitting here. Last one is one thing that I guess surprised me, even though maybe it shouldn't have, is just how much more attention you get without the doors. And so that was something for me that was kind of fun at first, but then as maybe life went on, you were a little iffy about when and where you wanted that attention. And so when you open yourself up to the world, you know, you're just ripe for a conversation. Every time you're in a drive-through, a gas station, people come up and they're telling you how they've never seen one of these with the doors off before, they didn't know it, how much was it, what is it? You get a million questions, and you know, some guys really like the attention, some guys don't. I'm somewhere in between. I don't mind ever talking about my car at the gas station, but sometimes, you know, if I'm downtown and I'm not trying to be, you know, mean, but there's, you know, you're in a rough neighborhood, or you're got a bunch of homeless people on the corner panhandling, and you're just ripe for the pick and sitting here wide open. Touching back on some random things again, you know, it's loud obviously when you're driving without roof and doors. You get a bunch of wind noise, so you can't really like hear your turn signals. You find yourself obviously turning your radio way up, so it kind of goes back to that point where I was said it's sensory overload. Everything's louder, you see more, you hear more, and sometimes you don't see and hear the things you need to see and hear, hence no mirrors, hence not being able to hear the clicking of your turn signal and leaving it on after a lane change. So that is all things to consider before you take to the streets. Obviously, Jeeping is one of the funnest things people can do, and I recommend everyone do it, but I also want everyone to do it safely. So here, I hope these 7 or 8 things, maybe I threw in a few more along the way, but I hope this list helps you be aware of what you're getting yourself into before you take your Jeep on the streets with no doors. And I hope everyone has fun Jeeping. This is Changing Gears. I'm Jay. Please like this video, subscribe, send it to your buddies, comment, tell us that we're dumb and that we missed 5 things. Even though we miss things, leaves things for us to be yelled at about, but that helps our algorithm and we get more views. So I don't mind you guys telling me I did something wrong. That's Changing Gears. Again, I'm Jay, and we thank you so much for following along with us.